how the world is perceiving India and Pakistan. In this video, I'm sharing with you.
Guardian, 8 saved in Pakistan's Miracle in the Mountains. You know, these young kids who go to school by cable car, it's a much shorter route in this incredibly mountainous area, you know, literally hanging by a thread for hours today.
I mean, I don't even want to think about it too much. It's actually my worst nightmare. You know, whenever you go out, whenever you go to Switzerland, which I've done once or twice, and you get the cable car, I don't like heights. You know, the first time you go on, when it goes over one of those cliffs and suddenly you're suspended by what feels like a little bit of rope. The idea of being stuck dangling there for so long is absolutely horrifying. And then you read about the complications. They were taking people off by helicopter, and then there were high winds, so they had to abandon that, meaning that people thought they were going to be rescued, and then they were stuck again. Chilling. And yet, again, a happy ending. It's absolutely fantastic. They managed to get everybody off, including the teacher. And it is remarkable how you have communities like this where which, you know, the only one we've got in the UK, I think, is the Boris Johnson vanity project over the Thames. But there in Pakistan, it's a perfectly sensible mode of transportation when it works.
Yes, and once the helicopter couldn't take off, you know, a zip wire was used, painstakingly bringing everyone to safety, at great risk to themselves, working in darkness, as you can see from these pictures, Sonia.
Absolutely, and I think it's, you know, everyone in Pakistan and elsewhere around the world, because, you know, it's one of those stories that I think people follow closely, regardless of where it is, whether it's local or international. I think everyone will be breathing a sigh of relief. I've actually been reading up about these cable cars in Pakistan this evening. It wasn't something I was aware of, but it's very common for there to be essentially locally built cable cars, like kind of homemade cable cars. Some of them are made from, you know, the cabs of trucks, for example, and they are quite dangerous. So there have been accidents on them before. Now, the reason that they get built is because you've got very remote communities. The children in this cable car were using it to get to school. It takes a journey that would be a 2-hour walk or a 4-hour drive, you know, because it's a very mountainous region, and turns it into a 4-minute cable car ride. You know, it's just not feasible financially or time-wise for children to get a taxi to their school. So you can see why these cable cars are being used, but there are a lot of calls in Pakistan tonight for the government and you know, local regulatory agencies to do much more to check on the safety of these cable cars, which are relatively unregulated.
I'm going to move on again, front of the Daily Telegraph now.
India's third lunar mission attempt has sent back images of the south pole of the moon. The photos, coming just days after Russia's failed attempt to land, will help India's space agency locate a safe landing spot for the rover. The South Pole, or the dark side of the moon, has become of interest to scientists, not just Pink Floyd fans, as they believe it could hold frozen water. If the landing is successful, India will be the first country to land a rover on the South Pole.
But it is an area of great interest. It's where the American Artemis project will eventually aim to land humans. So there's a little bit of kudos in being the first nation to put a spacecraft down in that region.